Hello, my name is Brandon, and I'm with Prowood Studio, and I just made these two couches in time for Christmas. I barely made my cutoff. I was up until about 1 in the morning trying to finish these up the night before Christmas, but I did it. I got them done. We ended up needing couches because we planned on having company over Christmas Day, and we didn't really have any seating. We had a couple chairs, but that's about it. But we just wanted something a little bit more comfortable. So 5 days before Christmas, we realized this, and I decided, well, instead of going out and trying to buy a couch, why not try to make one? So here is the video of kind of the process of going through making these, all the way from getting the fabric, the foam, and designing them to actually doing all the joinery, putting all the wood pieces together and finish and bringing them home. This is my home, and we are really happy with how they turned out. I hope you enjoy. So I always like to start my projects with designing on something physical, and then once I kind of have the idea that I want to go for, then I can translate it to a 3D model, as you can see here. The first step in actually working on the wood is going to be to flatten it on the jointer and run it through the table saw, as you can see here, so that I can get nice, clean, straight pieces like this. I always like to kind of take my pieces and lay them out flat to make sure that all my angles are lining up, like I'm doing here. And then I'll go ahead and take them over to the bandsaw and cut out my curves. After the bandsaw, I take my pieces over to the spindle sander and I just kind of smooth out those curved edges just a bit. Here I'm using my taper jig to put a slight angle on the legs for the couch. When it comes to joining the legs with the stretchers, I decided to go with dominoes, and I used the smallest ones that I had because I'm only using 3/4 inch thick material, but I did use like 6 of them in each joint, which was plenty strong. Because all of my pieces for this project have rounded edges, the sanding for this project took quite a while. Here I'm measuring and marking where I want the screw locations to be for the armrests. I definitely wanted to go with pre-drilling all of my holes for this project to avoid any sort of splitting or screws breaking. After applying some glue, I set the armrest in place and then go ahead and put 2 screws in each location. And as you can see, I kind of slow down at the end and almost hand tighten it with the drill to make sure I'm not over tightening anything. I'm attaching the legs to the seat using some glue, and then from the inside I decided to use some screws just for some extra support. And I was a little nervous that this would be a little bit wobbly or have some rock to it, but it ended up being super sturdy in the end. Here I am using a dado stack on the crosscut sled to cut the half lap joints that I needed for the backrest of the couch. And here's the backrest all assembled with those half lap joints. And now I'm just putting some glue and screws to attach it to the bottom there, as well as marking some hole locations to put some screws through the side to give it some extra support. I actually enjoy this part of the process. This is using a plug cutter to actually cut out some plugs, and I had quite a few to cut, as you can see. Then just kind of sand them up, and this is the fun part, putting some tape on it so that they don't go everywhere when I cut it on the bandsaw here. And there's something so satisfying about this part, being able to peel the tape off and all the little plugs stay connected to the tape is something fun about it. It's pretty straightforward. You just kind of hammer the plugs in place, and then I chose to use Japanese handsaw to trim off the excess so that they're nice and flush. And then after the fact, I'll go back and sand it down so it's nice and perfectly smooth. I've been using Osmo oil for a little while now, and I really do like the product, and I highly recommend it for amateurs and professionals alike. Now, I'm sure there's a million ways to cut foam, but this actually worked surprisingly well for me. It gave me really clean cuts and very straight lines. So essentially I just did a pull stroke with a push saw. How about that fluffy batting, huh? So as you can see, I'm adding a few layers of batting underneath the foam cushion, and the reason that I wanted to do that was to give it a slight crown. And now we get to the fun part. Get to lay out the fabric and start stretching it over the foam and the plywood backing to start making the cushions. So this part here is the back of the couch, and all of the seams that you see with the staples and everything, those are all going to get covered by the wooden frame. At this point, it's about 1 in the morning, and my fingers are really sore from pulling the fabric tight and then having to hold it and staple it. But in the end, it's all worth it because I ended up finishing the couches. All that's left to do is load it up and bring it home. And here's the final result of 4 days of hard work and some sore hands. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.